All right, everybody, good afternoon. This is Ready, Set, Crypto during our live session once a week. Ready, Set, Live. My name is Doc Severson. We got Mav over here on the other side. Welcome aboard, everybody. Good to see you. Sorry we took the week off, but we are back. We are back and good to go. Hey, everybody, tell us where you are coming in from today. Tell us where you're joining our little show from today.
Whereabouts in the world you are and how you're doing.
Hey, we got, let's see, we got Skydiver 333 coming from a Bull. We have Vaude. What's up, Doc? We have Jonathan from Memphis. We lived in Germantown for a short period of time. We have Evil Ken from Florida. We have Crypto Soldier from Georgia, or Savannah, Georgia. We have North Korea checking in. Congratulations. And let's see, we have, now we're getting into the fast stuff here. We have Toronto, we have Denver, we have, let's see, deep behind enemy lines in California. We have Australia, 7 o'clock in the morning. Thank you for joining us there. We have Wilmington, North Carolina, Philadelphia, PA. We have Holland, part of the Netherlands. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us here today. Lots to talk about today. Lots to talk about today. Welcome aboard, folks. Hit the little like button if you get a chance, and get this thing pumped up, because what happens is it beats the algorithm, and it makes Mav talk in a more animated fashion. We have Costa Rica, we have Kuwait, we have New Orleans, we have Milwaukee, Romania ×2. Fantastic. Great to see everybody out there.
Very nice. Very nice. Good to see it. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys are taking today in stride. I think it's so now one of those road bumps on our way to the destination we hope to be going towards.
Yeah, there's a number of reasons why we saw distribution out there today. I will go into a little bit of that when it's my turn to grab the microphone.
Well, in that case, I will kick things off. I'm going to keep it very short today. I'm going to not go into too much detail, but I'm going to do what I normally do, which is to talk about some of the stuff you should be paying attention to today. So those who are, blasting the title of our stream today about there being an upcoming pump, yeah, obviously today is not a pump. I get that. Good job on pointing that one out. But that's just the nature of cryptocurrency in general. The crypto markets is they're going to go up and down very fast, and certainly today is no exception to the latter case of going down. But that's okay. That's okay. That is well in line with what we were expecting, and I think obviously no one was expecting such a dramatic, I guess, pullback, and Doc will get into that maybe. But I think if you're looking at this chart right here, or this column, sorry, and saying, oh no, there's a lot of red, you're doing the wrong thing. And let me show you what you need to be doing. What you need to be doing is going into the categories here and looking in this instead and saying, okay, let's look at a bigger picture here. Let's look broader, and let's think about an investment thesis that isn't single coin dominated. Because if you're doing that, you're taking a very elementary approach to the crypto markets, and I'm here to help educate you in a way that's going to make a lot more sense and help you ride through today, days like today, a lot better. Because if you can see, there's a lot more green on this page. Am I right? And I think there's a good solid reason for that, in that what we're doing here is we're looking at the categories of crypto. We're looking at the different types of cryptos out there, and we're not letting our mindset and investor focus be dominated by what Bitcoin or Ethereum are doing. Obviously, what those two are doing, very important, but it's not the whole thing. And here's why. What is happening in crypto right now is there's massive, it's growing up, it's maturing, and it's becoming a industry of industries, right? So there's many different ways that we can look at, what's going on in the crypto space. There's many different ways that cryptocurrencies are looking to evolve different industries out there, such as, we have insurance, we have storage, but we also have these new, for example, DeFi industries, those around like yield aggregators, or those that are doing asset-backed tokens or lending and borrowing, especially finance and banking, things of this sort. Obviously, NFTs have their own sort of island of relevance. This is very important to pay attention to, because if you understand this, I think you're going to do a lot better just in general. Because what you do is you look at these sort of categories, these sectors of crypto, and you say, okay, I know that DeFi is going to play an even more important role into the future of crypto. And so what I do is I look for those DeFi categories, AMM, yield aggregators, some of the stuff we were just talking about, and even some of the emerging ones. Here we have the options category, and this is very underbaked as far as I'm concerned. These projects are still very new. Euler, for example, still being built. Hedgic is basically binary options. It's basically gambling. It's not really true options that someone like Doc is going to be trading on a daily basis. But that being said, this is an emerging industry. This is an emerging sector of crypto. It's going to be maturing down the line. So it's something to pay attention to. All this is to say that if you move away from being single coin dominated in terms of your investment focus, and you look for these standout, very well, there's a lot of fundamentals as to why these categories are doing well. That's what you should be looking for in terms of your investment strategy, as far as I'm concerned, at least for if you're on the more speculative side of things. If you want to just stay in the top 10 as it's a nice little playground of, safety, hey, that's totally fine. What we're talking about here is more of the speculative side of things, the risk capital side of things, where we want to be very careful with our investments and we want to diversify in a way that makes sense. And what I'm suggesting is that if you were to say, for example, lending borrowing is a really good emerging category of crypto, well, we could look at Aave as one that is doing a lot of really interesting things right now, or Compound is one that kind of really kicked this category off, also doing some really interesting things. Or we could get a little bit more granular and go into things like Kava, who are also, kind of on the cusp of a lot of really interesting updates and things coming down the line. We've talked about Venus on here earlier, so it's very interesting category to pay attention to. But DeFi in general, I think, is going to have a lot of good yields, a lot of good return on your investment. But overall, I think the key message here is not to get freaked out by days like today. We look at CoinMarketCal, which we were talking about 2 weeks ago, and some of the upcoming things. We're still 2 months away, more than 2 months away from, for example, Ethereum's London hard fork, or we have Polkadot doing their token minting in a couple months. Cardano's got a testnet that they're launching at the end of the month. VeChain, Theta, they're doing some big updates. PancakeSwap is doing their V2. Neo's doing their 3.0. A lot of big updates coming for a lot of these big cryptocurrencies out there. So the important thing is that this space is constantly moving. It isn't dominated by single day news, and it's got its own rhythm outside of what the larger markets are doing. So there's many different ways to make money in this space, and to be just to have your emotions played by whether Bitcoin is printing a green or red candle is the wrong way to do it. I think there's many different ways you can look at this space and diversify into different strategies that are going to help you make yields well down the road and in different ways and in different, it's a very exciting space to be a part of. And I think it's something that we have to constantly look for new opportunities. And that's what we're here to help you do. But I think it's also something you just got to stay rational in days like today, trade dispassionately, look for opportunities where they're present, but also play it safe sometimes. So, Doc, what are you seeing from sort of the market's perspective? What is shaking up the markets today, and why is it not that big of a deal in your opinion, or is it a big deal?
Well, it could be the beginning of a big deal, but anytime that we change things around in markets, anytime that we have what's called exogenous events come in, it upsets the apple cart. Markets crave certainty. They want certainty in buckets and spades. And when they have uncertainty, there's an expression that's out there from the floor traders that says, when in doubt, palms out, sell everything. And palms out means that's the old floor trader way of saying sell, sell, sell. You know, you got something to sell like that. When in doubt, palms out. And this is what most traders will do when uncertainty comes in or something that wasn't priced in already into the markets. And this is kind of what we saw today. Let's, I'm going to jump over here. Let's make sure I'm in the right window. Yep, we are in the right window. And this is the 10-year note. And this represents essentially interest rates that are out there in the US. Now, 1.7%. So if you see 1.7 over here, it's 1.7% effective 10-year note rate on treasury notes. That's still not that high. It's just the problem is that when it's risen this high, this quickly, it upsets the apple cart because many stocks or even cryptos are going to be rate sensitive to this, right? So if you were holding a basket of assets, would you want something with more of a guaranteed return or something with more risk and higher reward? It depends on the mix that you want. And for years now, we've had such low rates that it really doesn't matter, right? So why would you do anything fixed rate when there's essentially zero interest rates? So the problem that came in today, and I'm just going to bring this guy down here, is the consumer price index got published today in this morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, and consensus was like 0.2%, and it went 4 times that amount. So way, way, way hot in terms of consumer price index. And this is all stuff that all of you knew anyway. Anybody, people that have been buying gas or buying groceries, or in my case, like buying lumber, it's just ridiculous what people are paying out there. So finally that hit the number, that number hit, and it's reflected in the economics. And the Fed is on record as saying that, well, we don't anticipate raising rates anytime soon. And so here's part of the problem is you go out here to the Fed funds futures, and even if I go out here to December of 2021 this year, there's only a 9% chance at this point that the Fed is going to raise even a 1/4 point on the interest rates. So they are locked in at low rates. And so we may get this runaway inflation in the near term. Okay, so a lot of you might say, well, that's exactly what Bitcoin is for, right? It's an inflation hedge, just like gold or any other cryptos should be something that is in scarcity, should be an inflation hedge. And it is. But the problem is, guys, that when you have multi-trillion dollar markets that are out there like the S&P 500, when the S&P 500 burps, in this case today, I mean, we're down, it doesn't seem like that much, but we're talking about trillions of dollars that were lost over the last 3 days. And when that happens, when you get all the margin calls and redemptions that happens out there, because everybody is over leveraged, this has been going on for years now, is over leverage. So what happens is everything rolls downhill. When all these margin calls hit, what happens is you sell your winners. And so this is why we're seeing price pressure across the board in cryptocurrency. Now, what happened last March? Same thing happened last March. So let's go back to last March in 2020. Same thing happened, right? We had the same type of reaction happen where all the winners got sold because everybody across the board was getting punished. Margin calls had to sell first. But notice how quickly that it recovered. So just because we're seeing a little bit of selling today, this is really this is why we're seeing it, just because you sell your winners to pay for your losers when you hit margin calls, redemptions, things like that. So this is always a short-term effect, but right now I still like what I see in the charts across the board. We're consolidating, looking really good. These are good consolidation patterns, setting up for bigger gains. Ethereum has been phenomenal as we've looked at. I mean, this is still super strong, and even the mighty Dogecoin is still holding support here at this support level, which is the 45 cent. This is the swing test level. So I could go through all the coins here, but I'm not going to today. So just the bigger ones that are out there, the ones are holding, and I don't see the red today as anything more than a short-term thing. As long as we're dealing with scarce assets, they're going to hold value during inflation. All right, so I'm going to run back to the middle here. and see if anybody has any questions or any comments based on that. So, okay. So I'll just, yeah, go ahead, Mav.
No, it was well said. I think it's a good representation of where we are right now. And yes, there's some, very legitimate reasons for being concerned about where things are and where they could, maybe sink down further. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of really good fundamental catalysts for us going up as well. I don't think we've seen the end of this move just yet. So, definitely, I think it's something to watch and something to pay attention to. But, crypto thus far and the larger markets have defied the fear, uncertainty, and doubt thrown at them for the last year. And I don't think we're ready to quite get off that bandwagon just yet. So it should be interesting to see where things pan out over the summer.
Do you have any thoughts on the Vitalik actions today?
Well,
to me, I don't think it really matters that much. It's just news, right?
Yeah.
Just a news dump.
He dumped a bunch of coins to donate them to charity. We've been down that road before of, founders getting rid of their coins. I see people bringing up Litecoin a lot in the chat, and there's definite history with that one. But I think it's taking profits. There's nothing wrong with that. And at the same time, Vitalik's also talking about how Uniswap should be an Oracle token, and obviously Ethereum's updates are coming. So it's not like he's checking out of crypto or anything like that. And I just don't see any reason to be concerned about something like that.
Okay, Mav, keep on talking. I'm going to steal the screen again here and just look at a couple of charts while you talk. So LRC versus Bitcoin is this is just a nasty looking chart. And what you're seeing is just the strength in Bitcoin over the last few months. And this is why it's been in a downtrend, because of the denominator has been strong. And now what you're seeing is, with relative weakness in Bitcoin, this one is starting to take off. This is really, it's a nasty pattern, but anything over 1,300 sats, I would say would be strength. There's some other people looking for Litecoin. This is in a really nice pattern. I love high and tight consolidation. So a high and tight consolidation, I'm going to train you guys until you have the same eye here, because what I want you to look for in any coin that you invest in is, I want to see strong accumulation happening during range expansion. And then I want to see tight consolidation during range contraction. And then I want to see that pattern repeat over and over and over again. So when you have strong movements here on good volume, that's great. And then tight consolidations. I don't want to see sloppy consolidations like this. I want to see tight stuff like this. So Litecoin looks really good. These are assets that you want to keep an eye on and take breakouts from, as long as the volume is there to support the breakout, which in this case would be somewhere around 390 for that breakout, 380 to 390 on good volume.
Okay, so I'm seeing some interesting coins in the chat too. One of them is Hex. Hex, I'm very happy for you if you made money with Hex, but I caution people to stay away from it, just because I haven't seen the fundamentals there. It looks very much like a BitConnect, sort of greater fool theory. Cool. What is his name? Richard Hart. He does some interesting things. He's not the dude is definitely charismatic. And you know what? If Hex is a legitimate project, cool. But I haven't seen anything to convince me otherwise. And the fact that it gets pumped on every time we do these streams just doesn't help the case. So make your own conclusions about Hex. That's fine, but it's not for me. Now, there's a comment about Sheeb, SHIB, which is obviously a play off of Doge, because Doge is a Shibu Inu. I feel so lame having to explain these things.
Okay, we have 3 days of candles on Sheeb versus the US dollar.
Yeah. And that one has been pumped to holy hell and back. Little Yachty was on Twitter pumping it up and apparently bought like a bunch of it. I would stay very far away from this one. Maybe we'll return to form or whatever. But the fact that it's gone up over 1,100% in the last 7 days tells me to stay away. Uh, yeah, not one I want to chase. Another one that is interesting is ICP, which is not Insane Clown Posse, but is instead the something computer processor. What is it? Internet computer. Uh, this one is sort of brand new. Yeah, it's only got a 24-hour chart on CoinGecko, and there's been some pumping of that today as well. So it's interesting. Let me see if I can find the article that was it Cointelegraph that they were pumping it on? I don't know.
I don't know. Three days of candlesticks here. I would say wait for this one to establish a base first. Let everybody else take the initial arrows on this one until it shows where support wants to be. Buy things. I mean, if there's one thing that you guys can do to save yourself some pain and suffering down the road, buy things that are heading higher in price. Don't buy things that are heading lower in price unless your time horizon is enormous.
Yeah. Another thing, anecdotal, but a Big Boy who, I've met Big Boy. He's a cool guy.
I think I met him before.
But he's got the top spot in crypto YouTube land right now. So any token he's talking about is going to be pumped. There's just no question about that. And it's kind of suffering from success, I suppose. But he just made a video about ICP about 15 hours ago. And I think that's probably why I'm seeing some of this talk about it today. So, no disrespect to BitBoy, but just be careful with any coin that big YouTubers are talking about, because it usually is going to be pumped and dumped in that order. So just be very careful. Oh, we're scammers. All right, great. Thank you. Do you have some evidence of that? I would love to see it.
What are we scamming? Can somebody be specific about what we're scamming? Good Lord. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to protect people.
If you're going to accuse us of a crime, like at least back it up with some evidence. It's not guilty before innocent. So on 31st of May, Cardano is doing the Alonzo testnet, and Hodgkinson has been saying that it should be done by the end of May. But it's still not like a definitive thing. So we'll see if it's published. But let's see. I'm trying to find the thing you're specifically referring to in June for Cardano, but I'm not seeing it just right now. That was a good way to say. Yeah. Surprise. Let's see. Oh yeah, they're also doing Adipay. So that's another big thing coming out for Cardano. We call out those sort of comments just because I find it comical. We've been in the space for going on 4 years now, and it's seen every gamut of crypto. So it's fun to be around the block, and just see what happens. But we're just here to provide value for you guys. Want to cut past all the bull for you because if you're new to the space or you've been around, or maybe you took a hiatus after 2017 and you're just not coming back. I mean, this is a very confusing space. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. And there's a lot of people spouting opinions as if they're facts. A lot of people ready to give you their take on something as if it's an absolute truth. But the thing that is an absolute truth, the only one, as far as I'm concerned in this space, is that there's no such thing as a blockchain expert, because the space has only been around for a decade and change. And so everybody is just kind of trying to get you to do something. So just always take someone's opinion in the space with a grain of salt, even mine, and just try to be careful with trusting anyone in this space. It is a trustless space after all. But we definitely are here to try to help you. So that's our prerogative. We've never taken advertising money on this channel. We've never been paid to tell you what coins to buy or whatever, stuff like that. Though we turned out a lot of BTC, I will say that it's tough to say no. But your trust is more important to us, and providing you solid content is more valuable to us. So We appreciate you hanging out with us today and all the days to follow, hopefully. So, all right, let's talk.
It's interesting because like Nathan, welcome to our channel. Appreciate you coming in here today and providing your opinions. But look, I really, honestly, I don't give a crap about any of these coins. I don't care about the tribalism and the behavior of them. I don't really care that much about the business case of them. All I care about is what the market thinks of the value of the coin, whether or not there is supply and demand behind it. Right now, there is more demand than supply of Cardano. I don't care. I've been holding Cardano for years through this, and this is what the market seems to think about Cardano over the years, right? So this is a great big rounded base that's set up for Cardano. This is a pretty common chart pattern called a cup with handle. You can see this very clearly here. This is whole base down here, accumulation, cup with handle. It's breaking out from there. That's a valid chart pattern. So I don't care what you think about a specific coin. I honestly don't care one way or the other. All I care about is making money through these things. That's my thing. So
yeah. So let me address this comment.
There's the cup with handle. Sorry, guys. All right, back to Mav here.
Let me address this comment about ICP. What I'm not saying is that ICP is a scam or that it's a bad project or anything of that sort. What I am saying is that it's only been listed for 24 hours. And so it is just going to be volatile as hell. Okay. And what I don't want the majority of people is to jump into something just because it's talked up a lot and for it to, go right down because that's happened so many times to so many people. Look, ICP is from Definity, and Definity is a legitimate project. And I have, so far as what I've seen so far, it seems like a very legitimate project. However, if you are looking to make money in the short term, it's not a guaranteed. In fact, it's probably to the negative end of the spectrum is what's going to happen is it's going to dump because there's so much hype on it right now. It's the flavor of the month. And so you just don't want to be touching that kind of stuff unless your intention is to hold with like iron hands on something. And I just don't recommend that in general with a lot of stuff, especially if they are small cap coins, because you have to have a lot of conviction to do that. And you have to be able to tie up that money, hopefully indefinitely, and be able to look at, your portfolio and see a 90% loss on it and say, nope, I'm going to continue holding because that's what it's going to take. If you want to see it, come back. This is just the experience from 2017 to now. This has happened to so many people. This has happened with so many coins. ICP saying it looks like a great project. Cool. Just be careful of the price action. That's all I'm saying. So, for those who think I'm here to pass judgment, I'm not. I'm talking about the chart. I'm not talking about the project.
Okay, this is Luna versus Tether US. This is a very common breaking from one consolidation to a much larger one. So if we look at the weekly chart, we can see that this is a weekly consolidation building up energy. We can throw the RSI Laguerre on there. We can see that the weekly chart is now full of energy, although probably the monthly chart is going to be a little bit deficient down here. So this may consolidate for a little bit longer on Luna versus Tether, but watch this trend line. This trend line will tell you when this wants to break out, and that's going to be above about 18 bucks at this point versus the US dollar. A lot of energy here, ready to break.
Yeah. So guys like Big A here who know what they're doing and are able to trade the ups and downs. Cool. ICP is a great project for that right now. For those who just want to get in and hold and not trade, but just invest, basically, I just can't recommend it because it's going to be a not fun experience, more than likely. Maybe I'll be wrong and maybe it shoots up and that'll be awesome. And I'd be really happy for you. But for the majority of times, whenever a project is sort of like everywhere all at once, everybody's talking about it, generally what happens is it goes up a little bit and then it just sells off and you just don't want to be stuck with that. So hopefully we've addressed that. Hopefully that point is made very clear. But yeah, there's obviously lots of opportunities here to make money with something like ICP, something like some of the other projects you guys have been talking about. This is what happens in a choppy market like today. When we don't have just like a rocket ship up to the moon, and we have to make some tough decisions about, are we going to trade? Are we going to, go into stable coins? Are we going to, continue to invest, buy the dip, etc. There's reasons to do any one of those. It's not very clear from my perspective, a fundamental perspective, at least for the smaller coins right now, to be doing anything other than looking broadly and talking about the categories as I was at the beginning of the stream, looking for broad investments like that. Otherwise, stick to, the top 10, top 20, continue to consolidate into those, because those are going to be the ones that are going to lift off first, as far as I'm concerned. They're going to lead the charge. And I think we haven't seen enough of what Ethereum is capable of. I think it's totally in the cards to see Ethereum to 8, maybe 10 by the end of the year. Doge hopefully is going to $1. No guarantees there. It doesn't have the same sort of fundamentals that Ethereum has, but it's playing a different game than Ethereum is. And Bitcoin, we're hoping is also going to follow a similar trajectory where it's going to continue to rocket up. I think it's been stuck in this kind of sideways pattern for a little bit too long. It's consolidating some potential energy there, and it would be really nice for it to start heading back up. So I think it's all within the cards, but we got to pay attention to the macro as well, as Doc was talking about with the consumer price index and some of the bigger news going on right now. It's going to be a shaky time. Nothing is guaranteed in this market, and we just have to hedge our bets. But I think you're in the right space at the right time if you have the conviction to stick through it. Awesome.
Okay.
Mic drop.
The silence is deafening. All right, let me see if I can find Polkadot here for Michael. Okay, so Michael, here's Polkadot. This is a really messy chart, and what I'm seeing here is potentially, again, this is not my view on the business case of Polkadot. This is not my view on the religion of Polkadot. If you want to get into religion, you're in the wrong space here. But this is potentially a head and shoulders pattern that's setting up right now, because the price has gone from a higher high to a lower low. This is setting up as a lower low, potentially lower high. So what I want you guys to do is I would wait for this thing to break above 44. If it breaks above 44, all is good, all is forgiven. But if it does not able to do that, if it breaks down, so this is one of those ones that I would avoid just for right now. If you're looking for a trade, if you're looking for something which is an investment, it doesn't matter, right? You're looking to buy dips, you're looking to just accumulate. But if you're looking for a trade, this is typically what I'm talking about, is trying to get in on assets that are heading higher and avoiding assets that are heading lower, because we know that what is low can go much, much lower.
Now, what I will say for Polkadot is they are doing their Polkadot Decoded virtual conference next week, May 19th. I'm not sure if they're going to be announcing anything at that, but it would be something to pay attention to if you are taking more of the investor side of looking at Polkadot. I agree with Doc. It's going to be probably not the best trade right now, but they're also working towards some of their first token minting going on within the next couple of months. The projects that are building out of Polkadot are going to start minting their own tokens, which is really exciting. That's a big step forward, especially in the context of Ethereum making their changes, Neo doing 3.0, et cetera. All these other smart contract platforms that are making, the competition is very fierce. So for any project, any smart contract platform to be making such important milestones, definitely something to pay attention to. Doc, can we look at Decred as maybe the last token?
Yeah, I'm looking at Decred right now, and Decred's a grinder. It's one of those ones where there's no real clear entry points. Decred is one of those ones where you just get in and you just hold on, because it's just holding all these moving averages, grinding all the way up. So it's got very little in the way of definitive entry points for this. So Decred is just one of those ones where you get into this as long as it's holding an uptrend and you just ignore it, just let it go. And it's not really a trading type of asset. So it's not like one of the ones that we've talked about before, like with breakouts and consolidations and things like that. Decred just kind of grinds higher. So hold on to that one. Somebody was also talking about Uniswap, which is very similar to that. It just the grinder, it's just trading within a range and slowly mutating higher. So if you want to wait for something to break out, take that one above 44. Otherwise, get on board and hold on. Okay, guys. I think
Uniswap is doing their V3 soon, so that's definitely one to watch as well. But yeah, let's close it out here. But as always, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you haven't seen already, we have some nice resources in the bio below, some free communities for you to join. Definitely get on our Discord. It's where we have a lot of fun. But as well, join Ready Set Trade, which is Doc's baby here. And he's got the 10x tribe, which will teach you all about how to trade, go into a lot of the details we were talking about today on the stream, and just how to read price charts better. I think that's definitely some skills we all could use. So yeah, free resources there. Definitely something to consider. Definitely something you want to pay attention to, especially as we get into the summer. And I'm expecting to see some really good price action this summer. So I think it's going to be a fun one. So prepare, invest in yourself a little bit, do some education, and it will pay some dividends. But as always, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for being part of the Ready Set Crypto community. This is your brain on blockchain. I've seen that mentioned a couple times there. But thanks for hanging out with us. And as always, have a good one. Cheers, guys.
All right, everybody. You guys take care. Be good.
See you guys.